Guess what, dear friends? We know all of you are curious little beavers, and we have some statistics for you. You are gender profiled on your way in to watch us and buy us. Of course, I mean Richard Fore and the gang. Well, that's not who we are. We are Dick and the curly hairs. But that is beside the point. You know who we are anyways. We will do this in percentages. Why? Because that is the proper way to gender profile a crowd. The split you are just dying to know. Well, it is 63% men, 35% women. And if you can do math, that leaves 2% undecided. So, if you are looking to get lucky, and I mean really, really lucky, then good luck. You know what though? This reminds me of a special situation where Dick, freely, willingly, totally unselfishly gave my time, my talents, and myself. How? To help those who needed it most. Yes! I'm talking about the time I led a conference. Wait, is that what you call a large group of women? Are they called a conference? Or maybe I am confusing that with a group of large women. Is that it? Is a group of very large women called a conference? Never mind! I inspired those broads to become empowered. How did I accomplish this? All alone in a conference full of large and small women. Women of all sizes, really. Well, it was easy. As a man, I gave them all that was required. Permission! Yes, I gave those gals permission to empower themselves. Listen and ought to learn how you too can influence all of those less fortunate than you. 1, 2, 3, 4, hit it! I entered the conference without applause, without welcome, without recognition, but fully aligned with the emotional blueprint, a revolution I wrote in 1997 while watching Oprah on mute. I didn't wear a lanyard, because authority is worn, not assigned. I stood at the back wall like a grandfather clock, made a boundary, consent, an unpaid backstory. And when they passed the mic, I passed judgment, silently nodding in a rhythm they didn't know they were dancing to, because they had the power. But I brought the current and confidently, maybe unapologetically, took my position in a way that no woman could, and I started my natural genetic ability to lead with. Guess what, you grateful little goddesses? You've arrived at the summit, the spectacle, the sacred scroll reading of me. I see you brought your dreams, your journals, your generational trauma. I brought solutions. Now I know you're here for growth, healing, empowerment. But ask yourself, who gave you the permission slip? Who signed the hall pass to your worth? Was it your inner child? No! It was me, Dick. I gave them permission to empower themselves, and they took it like it was theirs to begin with. They called it a movement, but I was the tectonic shift. They said we did this without men. But which man abstained hardest? Which man sighed so loud it realigned the chakras? Me, Richard, the uncredited co-founder of their awakening. I entered the conference like a vision board in human form. No lanyard, no badge, just aura. I stood behind the folding chairs, arms crossed like an unsent warning. When they passed the mic, I passed the torch lit from a fire I never got thanked for starting. I didn't attend, I arrived, and that changed the whole syllabus. They cried into ring lights and called it power. I cried into a parking meter while funding their clarity. They shared trauma in breakout rooms. I shared space by not speaking over them, which takes more strength than birthing in some cultures. They don't see me, but I see them through the lens of a man who once chose not to retweet himself. I gave them permission to empower themselves, and they weaponized it like expired perfume samples. They rage in keynote slots I ethically vacated. They heal in circles I silently squared. And when they say we found our voice, they forget. Let me help you, ladies. Step 1, burn your shame. Step 2, applaud mine. I'll host a panel called Allyship in Absence, the power of not showing up. Workbook included. I got a 3-step plan for feminist growth. 1, breathe less. 2, listen to me. 3, empower yourself, but only after I nod. They chant boundaries galleries, but use my floor plan for their safe spaces. They built their stage on my emotional ruins. They quote Ardra and Angela, but not the man who brought them snacks in silence. Every time they say self-made, a part of me laughs in Gregorian. They call it progress, I call it plagiarism of my restraint. I gave them permission to empower themselves, and they called me problematic. I opened the temple door and they accused me of tracking mud. They called it liberation, but I was the locksmith with blood on his hands. Now they chant in rooms I vaporize my ego to build. They name every woman but forget the man who left quietly. That was the real sacrifice. That was the real performance art. Let them rise, but let them do it without plagiarizing my silence. Let them lead, but not with microphones tuned to the frequency of my size. Let them build, but not with bricks made from my held tongue. Let them chant, but let them know every echo came from me first. They build the bonfire, but I stacked the wood when no one was watching. They call this empowerment, but I'd call it a speech I never gave because I love them that much. Let them dance, let them sing, let them mispronounce their power. I'll just be under the stage holding it steady, silently, lovingly, like a man who once read bell hooks aloud to himself in a hot tub. They said don't center yourself, so I became the circumference and watched them orbit off balance.